नहमदु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बि शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बना ज़िदना इल्मा अल्लाहुम्मा फ़क़्हिना फ़िद्दीन अल्लाहुम्मा इन्नी अस्अलुका इल्मन नाफ़िअ व अमलन मुतक़ब्बला व रिज़्क़न तय्यबा Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilma. Inshallah, today we will be starting juz number 3. We will be studying ayat number 253 today. It's a little bit longer ayat. It has 3 parts in it. You will see that the first part will talk about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent many prophets, and some prophets were given higher degrees, higher levels as compared to the others. Although we know from the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the ahadith, we know that we are not supposed to differentiate between them or call one better than the other. That is the first part. In the second part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions some of the miracles that were given to some of the prophets and how Allah preferred or exceeded them than the others. This connects the first part to the second part, in which Allah mentions some prophets, and then there is a bigger mention of Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Isa, and how he was supported by Angel Jibreel. And then the third part also kind of connects in a way that Allah mentions that after the prophets were sent, Allah could have made people in such a way that they would have no objection to the guidance that was given to them. They would have all accepted and they would not fight with each other. But this is not how Allah wanted this world to be. This was not the plan for human beings. Allah wanted the human beings to have the free will and the choice and the guidance, and then they would choose to stay on the right path. So there are 3 parts: the different lots of prophets, and then the preference given to some, and the examples of the miracles, Isa alayhi salam, and then how people fight with each other, and that's not a mistake. So let's get into 253. Tilka, these, ar-rusulu, the messengers, faddalna, fa-dwad-lam, meaning preference or exceed. We have given preference, ba'dahum, among some of them, ala, over, ba'din, some of them. So ba'ain dad means ba'd means some of them. Ba'dahum, some of them, ala, upon, over, ba'd, others. Minhum, among them. Man, whom. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us how some were given more preference or some exceeded than the others. In what ways? Man, whom. Kallam Allahu, kallama, kaf lam mim, kalam, meaning to talk or to speak to somebody. So spoke Allah. Wa, and rafa'a, rafa'ain means to raise, to elevate. So, and he raised ba'dahum, some of them, darajat, in degrees. So Allah gave more degrees to, more higher levels to some of them compared to the others. But we are repeatedly, from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are told that we ourselves are not supposed to say that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the best than all the prophets, or we love him more than the others. We're supposed to give them all the same respect. When we read these ayat, we are made aware that some prophets were given a higher level, higher ranking than the others. Wa, and atayna, hamza ta ya is the root, which means we gave Isa ibn Maryama, Isa ibn son of Maryam. Al-Bayyinat, Bayanun means something clear. So Bayyinat is clear proof. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and we gave Isa ibn Maryam. So Isa alayhi salam's name is throughout, you will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't just call him Isa, Allah calls him Isa ibn Maryam. This is to emphasize, to make us understand that he really did not have a father. And all the other prophets, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will even say the list out, you will see Allah mentions Ibrahim, Ismail, Yaqub, Sulaiman, Dawood, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not write their full names. For Isa alayhi salam, you will notice that Allah mentions the entire name, Isa ibn Maryam. And Allah mentions over here that we gave Isa ibn Maryam al-Bayyinat, very clear proofs. And we will talk about the clear proofs or the signs that were given to Isa alayhi salam in a little bit. Wa ayyadnahu, wa and hamza ya dal, it means hand, and we gave hand, meaning also that we supported him. When you tell somebody that I have your back, or to give your hand when we say can I help you, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and we supported him be with Ruhul Qudus, with the Ruh, the spirit. Qudus means sacred, holy. And Ruhul Qudus is the name given to Angel Jibreel. This is mentioned quite a few times, and it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to Angel Jibreel by saying Ruhul Qudus. So Allah mentions that he was supported by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the Angel Jibreel. Wa and law, if sha'a, sheen hamza ya, Allah had willed, meaning sha'allahu, if Allah had willed, ma, not, aqtatala, meaning they would not have fought with each other. Qatl, as we have studied before, it means to fight. So they would not have fought each other. Allazina, those who, mim ba'dihim, from after them, meaning the people after the Prophet. Mim ba'di, from, ba'd, after, ma, what, ja'athum, jim hamza ya, came to them, al-bayyinat. Bayyinat is again bayanun, meaning clear proofs. After they had gotten the clear proofs, if Allah had willed, they would not have fought, but Allah had another plan. Walakin, and but, ikhtalafu, kha lam fa, meaning to differ, but they differed. Fa, so, minhum, of them, man, who, amana, who believed, who had iman, who accepted faith. Wa and minhum, of them, man kafara, of those who did kufr, they denied, they disbelieved. So if Allah had willed, they would not have divided, they would not have differed, they would not have fought. Walau, and if, sha'allahu, sha'a meaning if wills, Allah, if Allah had willed, maqtatalu. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that if Allah had wanted it that way, they would not have fought each other. If Allah had wanted, He would have made everyone just like Allah has made, like plants, right? They all grow, and we don't see like fights happening if there are different leaves or different colors or different times for them blooming, or different rates at which they grow, different heights that they have, so different colors of their leaves, anything. So if Allah had wanted, He would have just put the same kind of software in all of us, and we would do exactly the same things, and we would not have fought. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it was supposed to be like this. Walakin, but Allah yaf'alu, fa'ain lam, meaning does, ma, what, yurid, ra, dal, meaning what He intends. So this was Allah's intention all along, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us free will. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this ability to think and to make the decisions. Allah has shown us the right and the wrong, and then Allah has given us the free will to decide for our own self. So in this ayat, we see there are kind of three topics. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent all the Rasul, and some are given a higher level grade, and some are given a lower than that. But of course, this is for us to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did also treat them differently for reasons that Allah knows better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did talk to Musa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did elevate Isa alayhi salam. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave different signs to different prophets that came. For example, in the time of Musa alayhi salam, everyone was practicing magic so much that would be something that they would understand immediately that this is not magic and this is the sign from Allah, and that is why he was given something of that sort. He was given the signs like the staff or the arm that became fluorescent, or the snake from his staff. So all that, and then in the time of Isa alayhi salam, we see that everyone was learning medicine. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the signs where he was able to, with the help of Allah, with the permission of Allah, he was able to give life to the dead. He was able to heal the leper. He was able to heal the blind. He was able to tell people what they've eaten. And in the times of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we see that language and literature was given a lot of importance in Arab, and they used to write and read and enjoy poetry a lot. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Quran, which itself was a sign, which itself was a proof. As soon as it was read, it was a proof for those who understood the language. They understood that this is not a writing of a normal poet. It is not human beings writing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given different ranks, different preferences, different elevation levels to all the prophets. Some are mentioned in the Quran, some are not mentioned in the Quran. So we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about different prophets, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about, in the same ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks especially about Isa alayhi salam. We already talked that his name is mentioned fully in the entire Quran. We see that some of the signs that were given to him were that he could heal the people with certain illnesses. He could tell what they had eaten and what was left in their kitchen or pantry. He was able to even raise some of the deceased people with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was able to make birds out of clay and give them life. And the second part of this ayat also mentions that Isa alayhi salam was supported by the Ruh al-Qudus, which is the angel Jibreel. There were certain times, all the times in his life, that he was helped also with the miracles even before his birth, when the news was given to his mother, Maryam alayhi salam, that she will have a son, and she panicked. Then angel Jibreel was the one who brought the news, and then he supported her, telling her that this is from Allah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, and it is how it will happen. At the time also, when she was going to give birth, she left the city, and angel Jibreel was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to support her, to guide her, to let her know to shake the tree so the dates will fall, and how to drink water and all. Also, when she entered the city back and people were blaming her, at that time Isa alayhi salam was given the ability to speak while he was just an infant. Also, at the time when the Bani Israel were plotting against him, and the people were coming to look for him so he can be hanged, at that time angel Jibreel supported him to find his look-alike and all that, and he was elevated to the heavens. So during all the miracles, everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supported Isa alayhi salam. And third part of this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that after sending all the prophets, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he had wanted, he could have trained everyone. He could have put the same SIM, just like the phones have a SIM, right? And if Allah had wanted, Allah could have given us exactly the same brains to do exactly the same things, to accept the reminders and everything, but it is not how Allah wanted it. Okay, now inshallah 254. Ya ayyuhallazina, O people, amanu, who believe. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, O people who believe. Anfiqu, nun fa qaf, which means to spend. Literally, it means to have like a tunnel or a hollow or a hole in the hand. So as soon as the money comes, you're spending. And over here, of course, this is about spending in the way of Allah, in sadaqah, in donation. Now, in this ayat, we will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not just suggest or encourage. It is like a command. It's like an order that we should spend. And then Allah will tell us we should spend. Why? Because there is a day coming on which none of these things, the money will not help you, the friendships will not help you, and none of the intercession, nobody will intercede for you. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to spend money in the way of Allah before the day comes. Mimma is made of two words, of which. So spend from which, spend the money from which, razaqnakum, risk given to you by us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever in Quran we see that Allah has told us to spend money in the way of Allah, Allah has reminded us that the money that you actually have in your hands, in your banks, in your cupboards, it is not from your own intelligence and your own hard work only. It is the risk, it is the money that was given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah had not wanted it to happen, nothing would have helped you. Your degrees, your education, your intelligence, your hard work, nothing would have given you this money. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that if Allah has given you this money, then it's not like it is in your control when you will have it and when you will lose it. So might as well spend also in the way of Allah. Also the word mimma over here shows us that Allah is not asking us to give all of the money that Allah gives us or that we earn through whatever means Allah has opened for us. Mimma means of which, from which, some of that. Just like zakat, we know that it is 2.5%. For every 100 that we have to give 2.5 out of that to the poor and the needy. And in the same way over here, after zakat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a mercy upon us that Allah has not given us any exact amount how much to give, because Allah has said that whatever is extra, whatever you can. So mimma means out of which, some of that you are given to, that is given to you by us, spent in the way of Allah. Min qabli, from before what? On that ya'tiya yawmu, the day comes. Ya'tiya amzata ya, meaning comes, yawmu, the day. Now what will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us three things about the day. La bay'un, there will be no trading. Ba ya'ain, trade, bargain, exchange. You will not be able to buy your good deeds on that day. You will not be able to give somebody your money that you have in this world. You will not be able to use that money and say, hey, take this money and give me some of your good deeds. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the angels that take this money and please free me from the hellfire. In this dunya, we can do that. We can use the money and we keep thinking that, okay, money is so useful, money is so important. But if we keep hoarding it, this is a test for us. Are we hoarding the money? Are we showing off? Are we becoming arrogant with it? Or are we spending in the way of Allah as well as properly in a nice way on our family and ourselves as well? So, la bay'un, there will be no trading, fihi, in it. What else? Wala khullatun, and no friendship. Khulla comes from khalam, lam, which is very close. Khalal means to wash the between the fingers areas and the beard, within the beard, the hair. So khulla means like something within, something very close. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gave the title Khalilullah to Ibrahim alayhi salam, very close, right? So who else, what is usually our go-to after the money doesn't help? We are sick, we have spent money, we're not getting better. Who do we like to see? Our friends, right? They bring us soup, or they say nice things to us, they make us feel better, right? Whenever we are down, we talk to our friends, it makes us feel better. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that no money will help you, there will be no trading, there will be no friends on that day. Only thing that will help you is your good deeds. Only thing that will help you is how much money you've spent, how much you've invested. For example, if somebody knows that there's a hurricane going to come, we start making those boxes and all these kind of preparation starts, right? What do? We save for the bad day. We save for a time that we have to send children to colleges or for their marriages or whatnot. right? So investing in the akhirah is similar. You can think that whatever you're giving in the way of Allah, this is going to help you on the day when you will actually really, really need it. All right. And what is the third thing about this day? Wala shafa'atun. And there will be no shafa'a. Sheen fa'ain means even number in Arabic. So how does it become even? When you say something and somebody says, I agree. Okay, so somebody agrees, or I second that. So wala shafa'an, there will be nobody who will intercede for you. Nobody will say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was generally a nice person. He was a little greedy. So what? Nobody will be able to intercede for you. Yes, there will be intercession. It's not like there is no concept of intercession on the day of judgment, but it will be like in a very different way. And we will also study about this in the next ayat that is coming. It's ayat kursi. But what will happen in the intercession is that all the people will go from prophet to prophet. They will go to Adam alayhi salam. They will tell him, Adam alayhi salam, please help us, and because you were made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah made you with his own hands. And Adam alayhi salam will say, no, I ate from the tree, and I don't think I am able to speak in front of Allah. Go to some other prophet, and they will go to Prophet Nuh, and Prophet Nuh will also say something. And then they will go to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he will also say, no, I lied 3 times in my life, so I can't say anything. Then they will go to Musa alayhi salam. He will say, I killed somebody in my life, so I cannot say anything. Then they will go to Isa alayhi salam. He will also say something, and he will say, go to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When the people will go to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he will go into prostration in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then that prostration will last for either 3 days or 3 months or 3 years or 300 years. Nobody knows the duration of that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell him that you can rise and speak what you want, and your intercession will be accepted. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will request to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to free the Muslims who are in the hellfire, who are given the hellfire as their destiny. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept his request and take out some people from the hellfire who were Muslims, but because of their bad deeds, they were still in the fire. And then they will be put in the Jannah. And then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will fall into prostration once again. And the same thing will happen, whether it will be 3 days, 3 months, 300 years. Nobody knows that duration. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say the same thing. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will make the same request, and Allah will take out some more people from the hellfire, and they will be put in Jannah when their punishment will be over. And then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will fall into prostration one more time, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rise him and ask him, and he will request the same request. And this time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take out all the people who were Muslims, even if they had the faith of a size of a wheat seed, of a barley seed. They will be taken out of the Jahannam, of the hellfire, and they will be put in Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will seal the hellfire, and he will seal the Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will he will put an end to death. So there will be no death after that. So those who will be in the hellfire and those who will be in the Jannah, they will stay there and live forever. So this is how intercession will happen, and that will also not happen like just anyone can intercede for anyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, from the hadith, we know that this is how intercession will happen. If there is any other kind of intercession also, we don't know, but we know that it's not going to be just like randomly anyone can intercede for anyone, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just say, okay, no, whatever you did, even if you hoarded money, if you did not feed the poor, if you did not spend where it was needed, and you are still forgiven. So this is a reminder, kind of a warning for us, that be careful what you're doing. Think about what you're putting for akhirah. You're saving, you're very smart about saving for the future, saving for your old age, saving for your children's, but what are you doing for the akhirah? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us over here that spend in the way of Allah before the day comes when there will be no trading, there will be no friendship, there will be no intercession. And Allah mentions wal kafiruna, And the deniers, hum zalimun, they are the actual wrongdoers. Those who will deny, those who will say that I don't believe in this, they are the actual wrongdoers. So inshallah, next we will study ayat al-kursi, which is ayat number 255. This is the ayat which defines, which gives us the definition, which explains to us who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and how we get an idea of all the traits about our Rabb. And from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we know that this is the greatest ayat of the Quran. It is not the longest ayat, it is the greatest ayat of the Quran. And kursi means chair. As one more hadith related to this ayat is that whoever recites ayat al-kursi after every fard salah, there will be nothing standing between him and Jannah except for his death. This act of reciting ayat al-kursi after every fard salah, according to the hadith, it is one of the acts of the prophets. So he reaches the level of the deeds of the prophets, how they remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, one more hadith related to ayat al-kursi is that whoever recites it in the morning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends angel to guard him from morning till the evening. And whoever recites ayat al-kursi before sleeping, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends an angel to guard him throughout the night. So you can also start making it a routine for yourself, for your children. Children like to have a visual of things, so you can just tell them that let's call the guards like before sleeping and after waking up, and make it a habit that the entire family recites ayat al-kursi. So let's read Allahu. So this ayat, this is one verse, one ayat, which has 10 parts. Okay, and we will see there is also a linguistic miracle of this ayat. First we'll see how in each of the phrases, each of the parts, each of the sentence of this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described himself. Allah has given us the introduction, and that is why it is the greatest ayat. So it starts with Allahu, Allah is He, La ilaha illa huwa, there is no God except Him. So there is no deity, nobody to worship except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no animal, there is no stone, there is no sun, moon, nothing that has to be worshipped. There is no ilah worshipped except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Hayyu Al-Qayyum, He is Al-Hayy. Al-Hayy means, it comes from the root Ha-Ya-Ya, which means ever living. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was there from before, and Allah will be there forever. Everything else will die, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been living and He will keep living. Al-Qayyum, Qaf Waw Mim is the root, which means that somebody who's standing, somebody who's alert, somebody who's managing, okay, somebody who's supervising at all times. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Qayyum. It is like Allah is always there. Allah is the sustainer. Allah is making sure. It's not like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not be there. He's on a break or he's taken some time off. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there. He's the sustainer of this world. Allah is managing all the affairs. Allah is there to see what's happening. Everything, nothing is missed. La, not. Ta'khuzuhu, akhaz, hamza khazal, mean overtakes him. Nothing grabs him. Sinnatun, Waw Sin Noon is the root, which means to get drowsy. You know, when we are yawning and we're getting tired or we're getting bored, all right? So even if you're not sleepy, but you are attending a class where you are getting bored, so you'll be like feeling, drowsy and stuff. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not get drowsy. Allah does not get tired. Allah does not get bored. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not grabbed by any kind of slumber. Wala, and not naum. Naum means to sleep. Allah does not need sleep. Allah is awake and He stays awake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like humans that He will be asleep for some time and He will not see what's happening or who needed what. Lahu ma fis samawati, for Him belongs is whatever in as samawati, in the heavens, in the skies, wama, and whatever is fil ardi, in the earth. So everything that is there, everything, every single thing that is there that we can think of is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. It belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is managed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything that happens in this earth and in the heavens, in the skies, Everything is, it works according to Allah's orders. Not a single leaf falls, but Allah knows about it. Any meteors, anything falls from the skies, any grain of sand in the darkest of the night, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders, commands everything. Allah manages everything. Everything is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then manzallazi, who is one. Over here we are going to be talking about intercession, as we talked in 254 as well. Manzallazi, who is the one who will, yashfa'u, sheen fa'ain, who will intercede, indahu, with him, illa, except bi iznihi, with his izn. Izn is permission. So without Allah's permission, nobody will be able to intercede. So this shows that there might be some concept of intercession, but it is only going to happen when Allah will give the permission. Ya'lamu, he knows, Ain Lam Mim, knowledge. He has the knowledge, ma baina, of what is between, aydihim, before them, aydihim. So it means between their hands, meaning what is in front of them. So Allah knows the future. Allah knows what is coming for everyone, everything. Allah has complete knowledge of what's going to happen in the future, or what is in front of them. Wama khalfahum, and what is behind them. Khalf mean that is something that cannot be seen, or that was behind, or that happened before, alternate. And all meanings, we see that Allah has complete knowledge of the past, or of something that was covered, of the ghaib, of the unseen. And Allah has the knowledge of the future, which is also covered in unseen. Wala, and not, yuhituna, meaning encompass, bishay'im, anything, min ilmihi, of his knowledge. So nobody has the capacity to encompass anything from his knowledge. So only Allah has the complete knowledge. Allah has the perfect knowledge. And people, animals, angels, nobody has the ability to have knowledge except illa bima sha'a, except for whatever he allows, whatever he wills. So only knowledge that we can have is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to have. Only capacity that we have, because sometimes we think we're very smart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that the knowledge that even you have is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed it to go into your system. Wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard. The wasi, extension of his kursi. Kursi is the throne. His throne extends how much? As-samawati wal ard, to the heavens and the earth. So from the hadith we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's throne is bigger than the entire heavens and the skies and the earth. It is as if all the skies and the earth and everything else that is in the universe is like a ring, that we wear in our finger, if it is put in a desert. So the throne itself, for example, is like the desert, and all the skies and the earth and everything in the universe is like the ring, the metal ring. So the ring will probably get lost in the desert, right? It is so small. So Allah's kursi, Allah's throne is so huge, is so big, that it extends over the heavens and the earth. Wala, and not, ya'uduhu, tires him, hifzuhuma, is hifazat, its protection. So the throne and the universe and all the people in it and all the other creatures, animal, plant, all the things, the jinn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maintains everything, and it does not tire him. Allah does not get overwhelmed that, okay, so much is happening, I can't manage all this. It's very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala how all the affairs are taking place, how everything is written down, who is eating, what is happening, who is making what dua, what should be done at this point. Everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does very easily without getting tired. Wahuwa, and he, Aliyul Azim, he is the most high, and he is the most azim, meaning great. Ain Zwa Mim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the highest. There is nobody like him. There is nobody else who could be compared to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Azim. He's the greatest. Nobody is great like him. So as I already told you that this ayat is so supposed to be the greatest ayat of Quran, because every part of this ayat is describing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's giving us the introduction and more understanding of our Rabb and why we should become more humble. It makes more sense to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we understand this ayat properly. And we see that each part of this ayat is kind of a reflection of the first part and the end part. They reflect, they kind of connect with each other. You'll be able to see this better when I will post a picture, so that will show you how the first and the last part, and the second last part, and the third last part, they are all connected, and then they merge in the middle, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُم. It's so interesting, before and after. Okay, the first and the last. So this is the middle area. So inshallah I will post the picture that will show you just this.